pays him a tribute. And he says in the book about Dave Gainey, he knows the game better than anyone I know. It's not a tribute to Dr. Dave, and well deserved. And he went into the dressing room in 2007 when Dave was a selector to congratulate him on Kerry's victory. So two great men, Dr. Dave and Billy, involved with UCC over the years. He also tells us that Mick Morris, many of you, the elder people know Mick Morris, the younger people who don't know Mick Morris must get to know about him. He's one of the great characters of John Mitchell's and Kerry, he plays in the back for Kerry. But he actually played in the Sigerson Cup in 1965 for UCC, and the first time he met any of the players was when they booked in to the Spa Hotel in Lucan before the match. He hadn't been in UCC at all. That's the ball Mick Morris. But the following year he signed on properly, and they went on to win the Sigerson. Another thing that is mentioned there, and I think Dr. Conn speaks about it, and that is that Billy, when he was interviewed by Micheál McCarthy, and he was beaten in a match, he kept saying, unlucky, 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 that's how he replied to the answer of the question. So Dr. Conn christened him unlucky. But Billy, you may have been unlucky sometimes, but other times you were lucky, or as I say, you made your own luck. And certainly were involved with the Cork team, particularly in 1973, which was a fantastic year for Cork. They scored 5 goals in the Munster final. They beat Kerry, obviously, I remember that well, and they went down to win the All-Ireland. And Billy, of course, was crucial in that success. And then, of course, he came back, and Cork hadn't won again until the All-Ireland, until 1989 and 90, and he was back managing the team for Billy Morgan again. So that's wonderful. He also tells us that prior to the 1973 All-Ireland, Dr. Conn's father, Wishy Murphy, and also Eamon Young were in the hotel. And Billy was in bed, and Billy couldn't sleep, so he got up to go for a walk. And the lads were still up, all the rest were gone to bed, and they saw him come down. They called him, and Wishy said to him, "What's wrong with you, boy?" And Billy said, "I can't sleep." And Wishy said to him, "Do you take a drink?" And he says, "I do." "What do you drink?" "Pint of Guinness." "Have a pint of Guinness," he said. So I had a pint of Guinness, he had a second pint of Guinness, and then Wishy said, "I've up to bed with you now and you'll sleep fine." And he got to bed and he slept fine as I won the All-Ireland. And then, even more remarkably, when they came back to win the All-Ireland in 1989, Billy took the whole team across to the Ivy, which is above and from Conville, and they all had 2 pints and went back and won the All-Ireland. So maybe all this talk about going off the drink completely before matches, for some people, a pint or 2 the night before might be any harm. And actually, I remember reading that last year in Dr. Eamon O'Sullivan's book. He told Dinny Lyne, he told him all the players were to go off the drink. This is way back in the 40s. And he turned to Dinny Lyne, he said, "Dinny, you take a pint, have 3 or 4 pints, the rest have to go to bed." So Dinny went down to the park place, had his 3 or 4 pints, and they won the All-Ireland as well. So there might be a lesson there. And another very interesting thing, and people are always complaining about the Cork County Board, but when they were training in the mid-60s, on Wednesday nights, after training, the Cork County Board used to give all the players 2 free pints. So no, the Kerry County Board never gave that to their players. I mention that, I must say that it's a pleasure and delight to see all those chairmen who could be here from Kerry here. There's 1 current chairman and 3 past chairmen alive in Kerry. That's Jerome Conrad, the current chairman, Sean Welch, John McCain, and myself. There are no other, and you very rarely have 4 of us in the one room. And that again is a tribute to Billy Moore.
There we go.
Now, just before I conclude, I just want to say that the reason probably we're here in Listowel is that Billy came down here. They wouldn't give him a job in Cork, they wouldn't give him a job in Dublin, they wouldn't give him a job anywhere. So they gave him a job in Kerry. I'm only joking. He got a job out in Causeway, and he speaks very kindly of the people in Causeway. He was there with, obviously, Andy Mullen was there, Paul O'Donoghue, and John McKenna. And he speaks very highly of John McKenna because he said any time when he was tough for a take a class or if he was away and missed the train coming down, at least that was the excuse, he'd ring Gerald, and Gerald would say, I'll cover for you. And he did. And I think that's wonderful. That's the spirit of teaching, I suppose, and the spirit that exists between Kerry and Cork, and the admiration we have for footballers, whether they're Cork footballers or Kerry footballers or anything else. So Gerald, great to see you joining in here tonight, and well done for those good acts for Billy, and for many more teachers, I have no doubt, in many years ago. Well done to Gerald.
Good.
Now, one other thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to got to talk after this now. Billy actually was offered and took a trial for Glasgow Celtic. It just shows what a great goalkeeper he was. Could you imagine Glasgow Celtic looking at the Gaelic goalkeepers and coming over and giving a month's trial to one of them? They gave it to Billy, and after a fortnight he decided no, he's going to come back to Cork. He loves Cork so much, but he could go on. He played with, I think, in one match while he was over there, he played with Kenny Dalglish and all the other famous fellas. And again, it's an example of what a great goalkeeper he was. And that is, I must say, the one fault I have with this book. And I'm not blaming Billy or Billy Morgan, it's down to Billy Morgan's modesty. You'll read more in the book about the goals he let in than the great saves he made. He'll tell you about every goal he let in, and how he was upset about it, and how he was sorry, and how he apologised for it, and he was beaten. But he doesn't tell us enough about the myriad of wonderful saves he made. But that's reflective of the modesty of the man. So maybe the second book, he'll write about all the saves he made. Now, I could go on, but I'm going to cut it short there, because if I can't tell you the whole of the book, otherwise we won't buy it. So that's the purpose of the book. I do hope that everybody buys the book, that it sells well, because it's about a superhero, a man who gave Kerry a lot of grief. And I remember actually in '87 he was appointed manager. I was travelling with Michael Dwyer somewhere, and he came on the radio, Michael Dwyer, or the Billy Morgan was going to be appointed manager of the Cork team. And I remember Dwyer said to me, that Diddley, he said, he could trouble us. That's what he said at the time. Now, I just want to conclude by saying, here tonight, we are launching a book, Rebel Rebel, written by Billy, I suppose you could say the two Billies, about one of the greatest heroes in the GA. He's a man, he did it all, and, this is important, he did it all for nothing. Billy Morgan never looked for anything. Jimmy mentioned about his passion. And you know, I think there's only one person that I would say gave as much of himself to the GA in terms of passion and temper and time and energy that I know, like Billy Morgan, and that was the late John Dowling of Kerr's O'Reilly's. John was the same. His life was consumed with the GA. Business didn't matter to him. I would say Billy Morgan is something similar. Life without the GA, life without Nemo. Billy mentioned about the fact that he was offered to manage Cork City, and he said he couldn't do it because he was committed to being a selector with the junior hurlers in Nemo. But he meant it sincerely. It's just his passion for the game. Very few could have that passion. So, here tonight, as a Kerry man, as a GA man, I am absolutely delighted to officially launch Billy Morgan's book, and I hope it sells well, because of all people, nobody else gave more of his time, more of his energy, more of his blood, energy and sweat and tears for the cause of the GA than Billy Morgan, and he did it all for nothing. Well done, Billy.